Alright guys, welcome back to my Nihongo Oji YouTube channel. I am here to teach you how to speak Japanese, so today we'll be going over the most basic phrase that you need to know when you're first starting out your Japanese learning journey. I did a video recently with my group Asebound over commonly used Japanese phrases, but that was more slang focused, so today I want to go over some really basic, proper Japanese phrases that you really should know if you want to speak Japanese. So starting off with the first ones, let's just go basic, greetings. Greetings are important. Morning, noon, night. Let's start with the morning. When you wake up, you see someone in the morning, you're gonna be like, Ohayou gozaimasu. Ohayou gozaimasu. Of course, there's always the more casual, like, Ohayou, Ohayou, you know. But today we're just gonna be going over mostly the proper versions. So we're gonna go, Ohayou gozaimasu. Mostly used for the morning, but in work settings, I believe this also can be used at any point throughout the day. Then, of course, we have the typical konnichiwa. Even if you haven't been studying Japanese at all, you probably have heard this, like konnichiwa, konnichiwa, right? It's one of the most known Japanese words probably, but konnichiwa, konnichiwa. The literal meaning is kind of interesting, just like in English. Today? Today? Why am I saying today? And how does that become today? Like, it's kind of interesting, but we're not gonna get into that right now. Konnichiwa as well, you can use it morning, noon, night, whenever you want. Konnichiwa is always good. It's always good. Next, we got from the evening. Good evening. Konbanwa. Konbanwa. Remember that one. For konbanwa, you're mostly going to be wanting to use it when it starts to get dark. Maybe after about 5 p.m. After 5 p.m. is probably the most safe, I think. And then you can use it, you know, up until any point at night. There you go. Okay, next, we're going to go with apologizing. Or apologizing or being like, excuse me. And that's going to be sumimasen. Sumimasen. You can use this word in so many situations. You really have to learn this as quickly as possible, but sumimasen. Now, sumimasen, it's kind of used the same way as excuse me is used in English, right? Whenever you want to get someone's attention, you can be like, sumimasen. Or when you're trying to get through like a certain crowd of people, then you would go sumimasen, like, excuse me, could you please let me through? You could just only say sumimasen and the point will get across. If you want to be really pro, then you also want to use the hand gesture, like when you want to get through a certain crowd of people, then you want to go like, sumimasen, just be like this. I think it's like this. I think it's one hand. You just go like, sumimasen, like, can I get through right here? Like, sumimasen. And then people will understand that you just want to get through, right? But it is kind of interesting how in Japanese and in other countries as well, like the typical hand gestures you use are different. I probably should make a whole separate video about this, but for example, in the US, you know, like money, typically you would represent it like this. Whereas in Japan, boop, that's literally the sign for money. Boop. Kind of interesting. Anyways, moving on, sumimasen. You can also use it when you want to get the waiter's attention. Very useful. If you're at a restaurant, you're sitting down, the waiter might come to you depending on the type of restaurant it is, but otherwise you generally want to get their attention by being like, sumimasen. And then they'll come over and take your order or take care of whatever it is you need to get taken care of. Last but not least, you can also use it to apologize, like, sumimasen. Or like, to be even more polite, sumimasen deshita. If you have done a doo-doo, if you have done a bad one, and you want to be like, I'm sorry, like, sumimasen, you know. It is kind of a mid-polite tier way of saying sorry, right? To be more casual, you could be like, gomen, or gomen nasai, right? But gomen, you can't use it like to pass through a crowd of people because that would be kind of impolite, like, gomen, coming through. So you generally want to avoid that. Anyways, moving on. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty good. Kudasai. Kudasai is kind of like a please. It's kind of hard to explain, but if you have the word kore, which just means this, you know, this, kore, and kudasai, kore, kudasai, then that'll be like this, please, right? So if you're at a restaurant and you want to point out what you want to eat, but you can't read the kanji or you can't read the Japanese or whatever, it's so hard. Menus are typically very hard to understand. You can just point out what it is that you want and be like, kore kudasai, kore kudasai. Very useful to kind of point out whatever it is that you might want. In a similar vein, for the next word, onegai shimasu. Onegai shimasu is like another please, in a way, but you can use it in so many different types of situations. So you can also be like, kore onegai shimasu, pointing to the menu item that you want to order, or if you're at a store and you want to buy something and you see like an item, you'd be like, kore onegai shimasu, or kore kudasai. They're just kind of different ways to say the same thing. Onegai shimasu or yoroshiku onegai shimasu. As you do continue your Japanese learning journey, you'll find that You use them in so many situations, like after you get to know someone, after you introduce yourself, be like, hey, hajimemashite, my name is Alex desu, yoroshiku onegai shimasu. It's something that you would typically say, but it also means kind of like a please as well. So it can be a very versatile word. You can use it in many situations, but we'll be going over that in future videos. Don't worry. Okay, we're gonna move at lightning speed here. Wakarimashita or wakarimasen. Wakarimashita is understood or got it, you know? Wakarimashita. Wakarimashita. If someone tells you something, or, you know, even if you're just at work and you want to be like, understood, you know, be like, wakarimashita. Arigatou gozaimasu. And it'll just be like, oh yeah, I understand, you know, I get your point. On the other hand, to say that you don't understand or you don't know, then you want to say wakarimasen. Wakarimasen. Or like sumimasen. Wakarimasen, right? Like if you maybe didn't hear what someone was telling to you, or you didn't understand what someone was telling you, you'd be like wakarimasen. Another big thing that I want to tell you is that oftentimes in English, when you want to say you don't know, you say, I don't know. Like what was the name of that place again? And it's like, I don't know, I forgot. You might say something like that, right? But in Japanese, the word for to not know is going to be, well, the negative form of the verb shiru. So it's going to be like shiranai. So a very common mistake I see people say a lot is when they want to say I don't know in Japanese, they might say shiranai or shirimasen to be like, I don't know. While the translation literally is I don't know, in Japanese, when you want to say I don't know, it's in 90+% of cases better to say wakarimasen instead of shirimasen. Because shirimasen can come off as like super disrespectful. If someone tells you like, oh, what's the name of the restaurant again? You're like, hell if I know. That's kind of what it sounds like when you say shirimasen. So you want to be like, wakarimasen, you know, or like, wakaranai na. It's generally softer, and not only is it softer, it's the word that you typically use. It's just more natural to use that in Japanese over shirimasen, at least in over 90% of situations. So when you want to say I don't know, don't say shirimasen, say wakarimasen. Or if you go down to the Kansai region, wakarahen. Wakarahen. We should go over the Kansai dialect too. It's super nice. But moving on, 大丈夫です。大丈夫です。It's okay. Everything is okay. 大丈夫です。大丈夫 or 大丈夫ですか? If you want to ask someone if they're all right, or, you know, are they feeling well? Are they not getting heat stroke because it's so hot in Japan recently? 大丈夫ですか? Right? Or like, oh, is this, you know, we're meeting at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning, is that okay for you? 大丈夫ですか? If someone is asking you that or asking you how you're feeling, you'd be like, 大丈夫です. 大丈夫. Everything is 大丈夫. We need more 大丈夫 in this world, you know, because got the 大丈夫and everything's all right. 大丈夫です. Remember that. Oh, here's another useful one if you're in a store or something or you want to buy something. いくらですか? いくらですか? いくらですか is just asking, how much is that going to be? How much is it? How much does it cost? いくらですか? Kind of also using ですか, but to ask something different is, I also said this in a previous video, but I think it's one of the most important things, right? トイレはどこですか? Where is the bathroom? Where are the restrooms, you know? トイレは bathroom. トイレはどこですか? どこ is going to be where, and then this guy's just asking the question, right? So トイレはどこですか? And you can use that to ask 100 different types of things, like where is the restaurant? レストランはどこですか? Or where's the station? 駅はどこですか? You know, if you don't know how to say station, you can be like 電車. Where's the train? 電車はどこですか? Where's the 山手 line? 山手はどこですか? If you're looking for a specific product, これはどこですか? You can also say これは, yeah, これはどこですか? Pointing at whatever it is that you're looking for. これはどこですか? Super useful, and you can use it again in like thousands of situations. So, okay, and here I'm gonna go for the last one. いただきます。いただきます。And ごちそうさまでした。いただきます。ごちそうさまでした. Two super important words. One, before you start eating a meal, right? You're gonna be like いただきます. You're gonna wait for everyone to have their meal, to be ready to eat, and you're gonna be いただきます, expressing your thanks and gratitude for the meal. Once you're done eating, however, you don't say いただきました. Well, actually, you can say that kind of. But you're going to say this really hard word, or at least it sounds really hard at first. ごちそうさまでした. ごちそうさまでした. I know, that one's kind of hard to remember. I'm not going to lie. But ごちそうさまでした. Also a very useful word to know. いただきます before eating. ごちそうさまでした after eating. Especially when you leave a restaurant. Again, I always hear people saying like, arigato or arigato gozaimashita, right? When they want to leave a restaurant and say thank you to the chef. But a more natural expression you could use is you could say gochisou-sama deshita to the chef, right? You're like gochisou-sama deshita. Thank you for the meal and thank you for like the, delicious meal. Just a nice way of expressing your gratitude and sounding more fluent and natural in Japanese. Yeah, let me just give you a little bonus one. Once you actually come here and start living here, maybe you do homestay or something like that. Ittekimasu, itterashai, tadaima, okaeri. I'm not going to get into the details right now, but those are all going to be words that you're going to really want to know. Again, the Japanese that you sort of learn in textbooks is going to be super useful and it's going to give you a super strong base for the rest of your Japanese learning journey, but there's going to be a ton of Japanese words that once you come to Japan, you're going to be like, whoa, I never realized that everyone is kind of using these words. And it's like, whoa, there's going to be a lot of small words that you are going to learn and have to learn really fast once you come to Japan. And it's not all going to be in the textbook, but don't worry about that. Don't worry that it's not in the textbook. Learn the textbook, do the materials, do what you need to do, study your Japanese, and then once you come to Japan, then that is when everything you've learned will get just boosted up, 200%, as long as you put in the work. So keep studying with me, keep following this channel. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you want to see next. I really want to start getting more content out there. Boom, 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 pushing all the content and try to provide some useful tips, tricks, advice for how you can best learn Japanese based on my own experience. So with that, I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye-bye.